Hello, down here. Hi and welcome fellow students at Swinburne. You may have guessed that this presentation may be about clouds. Close, but it's actually about cloud computing and is focused on platform as a service in particular. In the written assignment, the report researched the following areas. 1. How does platform as a service work? 2. What are the business risks of platform as a service and how can they be mitigated? 3. Who owns the data if slide computing contracts are in force? 4. What regulations cover companies who supply these services? 5. What does the future hold for this service structure? There are three main services discussed in cloud computing. 1. Infrastructure as a service, IaaS. 2. Software as a service, SaaS. 3. Platform as a service, PaaS. And they are interrelated in this way. Platform as a service normally requires infrastructure as a service so that it can be utilised and can be used to create programs for use in this software as a service model. What is platform as a service? Platform as a service is the least mature of the major cloud services and provides operating systems and service to the customer to develop custom applications. This differs from software as a service, which allows the use of existing proprietary programs to be used. Platform as a service saves developers and administrators time by allowing access to application programming interfaces, programming languages, and middleware by not having to configure the environment to write, test, and deploy customer or employee-facing applications quickly and in the same environment. Users can experience the application without having to download or install it. The top platform as a service providers have major multinational corporations like Amazon with their Elastic Beanstalk, Microsoft with Azure, IBM with Smart Cloud, and Google with App Engine running the applications in addition to several smaller organisations. What are the business risks of platform as a service and how can they be mitigated? Platform as a service shares the benefits associated with cloud computing: on-demand self-service, ubiquitous network access, resource pooling, elasticity and metered service, but it has its own unique risks. Proprietary format from suppliers like Google and their Google App Engine is being overtaken by open source format like OpenShift from Red Hat and smaller vendors like CloudBees, making it difficult to employ legacy applications into platform as a service. No substantive list is available that confirms what each provider offers, making choosing the best fit difficult. Another problem is vendor lock-in, where it may be difficult or expensive to move applications to another provider. Good research is required before making the decision on cloud service providers. Who owns the data if cloud computing contracts are in force? The global nature of cloud computing, cost savings, the services provided and location of servers and computers are attractive to companies. However, this can possibly dilute the ownership of data or in some cases breach laws in various jurisdictions. Many contracts for online services do not specify where data will be stored, and many customers make assumptions about the location and the laws that will govern it. To add more confusion to this, the companies rely on other companies to maintain their web presence, and the question should be asked as to who is responsible if a breach occurs. This occurred at Sony in 2011 when an online breach compromised 100 million customer records, with access being gained via Amazon's public cloud. The national privacy principles, which are governed by the Privacy Act in Australia, require that any information that is collected should be kept securely and only to send information overseas when it can be properly protected while there. This is difficult to achieve if the information is stored on servers overseas. In Australia, federal and state legislation regulates businesses which operate within its borders, e.g. Privacy Act, the Competition and Consumer Act, various electronic transaction acts, and the Financial Management and Accountability Act. Further to this, government agencies like the Australian Prudential Regulation Authority, APRA, which regulates banks and insurance companies, and the Australian Securities and Investments Commission, ASIC, which regulate companies and businesses, both have issued concerns regarding cloud computing. There are international laws which can govern transaction data transfers. The UN Commission on International Trade Law UNCITRAL have carried out work in differing areas of trade law, and their model law on electronic commerce has provided a template for more than 100 jurisdictions. Further protection for intellectual property can be obtained through World Intellectual Property Organisation, WIPO, who promotes the protection, dissemination and use of intellectual property throughout the world for economic, cultural and social development. WIPO currently has 185 member states and provides protection for patents, trademarks and domain names. What does the future hold for this service structure? Very large companies have the economy of scale to be able to maintain the current IT structure. However, smaller companies are turning to cloud computing, but they may not have the expertise to utilise platform as a service. In Australia, cloud computing is restricted due to the major use of copper wire network designed for slower telephonic transmission, and currently we lag behind other countries in terms of network speed. The rollout of the National Broadband Network, NBN, will improve this significantly, giving rise to a predicted increase in cloud computing generally. The future of platform as a service specifically seems to be a movement towards standardising interfaces and the integration of multiple platforms, and to allow the use of services from multiple providers. This will allow non-programmers to be able to build high quality applications, giving it a competitive advantage. Conclusion. Platform as a service is part of the cloud computing options now being offered by a variety of providers who are predominantly either multinational companies or based outside Australia, with only one currently operating in Australia but using Amazon Web Services to complete its offerings. The movement of data outside Australia is highly regulated, and the regulators APRA and ASIC are ensuring that companies are maintaining their prudential and regulatory requirements in using cloud computing. The issue of intellectual property management is paramount when using platform as a service, as the applications that are produced may either contain proprietary information, for example privacy issues, or improve services to application users and therefore be a commodity that could be sold or licensed, earning income for the company and the developer. Platform as a service is in its infancy stages in Australia. However, given that a rise in cloud computing is expected with the rollout of the NBN, use should be increased, and combined with the standardisation changes to platform as a service, it will make it easier for the production of high quality applications. Thank you for your time in viewing this presentation.